All right, Cowboy Nation, let's talk about it. The sun is about to set on Jason Garrett's era. Some people are going to go around and cheer. Some people are happy about the situation. Most people are. We getting tired of the Jason Garrett era. It's been 10 years and 2 playoff victories, basically. However, there's an article out there. As a disclaimer, this is not my top 5 list, so don't crucify me. However, I would like to go over the list. I don't watch a lot of college football as it relates to looking at coaching. I do know that at the top of everybody's list is Urban Meyers of the world, and as well as Lincoln Riley. I think that they will be a fantastic set for this Dallas Cowboys. However, fan side, they made an article of their top 5 guys. And I want to be able to shed light on those 5 guys. So number 5 would be Bob Stoops. University of Oklahoma. Everybody know that he was the guy from 1999 to 2016. He just all of a sudden said, hey, here's my walking papers, I retired. But in the midst of those time frames, he won 190 games, lost 48 games. So he will bring in some wisdom, some understanding of football. And then on top of that, if you really look at the total picture of everything, Bob Stoops, he got a philosophy. So regardless of whether or not you like it or not, he brings in that type of element. And what I've been saying about Jason Garrett, what makes him different from Barry Switzer is just the fact that Barry Switzer, he earned his grain of salt, believe it or not, as it relates to college football. And I think that Jason Garrett, in order for him to be the guy that everybody think that he should be or Jerry Jones want him to be, I think that he needs some college game situations, whereas he can walk around and really get play callings and really get things going. I always say with Jason Garrett, his ceiling always should have been only offensive coordinator. Neither here nor there. We're going to move on to number 4. They have Jim Harbaugh, the Harbaugh brothers, right? The time that he's spending up there in Michigan, to me personally, is a failed time. I think that his ability to coach is fantastic. However, it's not translating to those guys up there in Michigan. Now, here's the thing with Jim Harbaugh. He is a grinder of a guy. They got the All or Nothing that's on Prime that you can really watch, Amazon Prime for those who don't know, that you can really watch his temperaments and the way he coaches. He's a grinder. And when he played football, he was the guy that was everybody kind of looked over. However, Jim Harbaugh, when he coached for the 49ers, because Jim Harbaugh, even when he played, he wasn't that terrible of a player. He was pretty decent. Neither here nor there. When he coached for the 49ers, which I call them the 40-winers, from 2011 to 2014, he made it to the NFC Championship game 3 times. If Jason Garrett was able to do that, boy, we probably have a statue outside in his name in Texas Stadium or somewhere in the Star in Frisco. And he was able to elevate that team to go to the Super Bowl. Although they ultimately lost to his brother, he was still able to get them to the Super Bowl. And I thank God that they lost, because I can't stand the 49ers. However, he will be one of those guys that will challenge the opposition. And I'm talking about, believe it or not, I'm talking about Jerry Wayne Jones. He would challenge him. I'm not calling Jerry the opposition all the way, but sometimes Jerry Jones just get in the way, Cowboy Nation. And that's the reality. I don't think that he can handle the temperament of Jim Harbaugh, but he's number 4 on their list. Now, number 3 is Christopher Rashard, or Chris Rashard, however you want to call him. He's an unproven coach. Of course, everybody knows that. But last year, he had an interview process with the Miami Dolphins. He had an interview process with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and also the Jets. So I'm looking at everything. If last year he had those interviews in process, we can say that he'd probably be better in those interviews now. And even though people have their reservations on the way this team is playing as it relates to defense, I'm going to go back to saying this is not his total philosophy. So, and if you look at the individual defensive back play, he have a leg to stand on. He can say, hey, people were ushering out Byron Jones, you see. And even though we can look at Cheeto Awuzie, if you look at his total stats, because that's what they're going to utilize when it comes down to coaching. They're going to look at those stat measurements and they're going to look at those numbers, what the Cowboys were before he came and what they are now. And if anybody can know that the Cowboys are better now than what they were before he came to this team. So that's the leg that he's going to stand on. Now, this season is not over with. He will be a guy that the Dallas Cowboys may consider as an interim coach if they give Jason Garrett the boot. And Jerry Jones, he loves to hire from within. So keep that into your mental. So Chris Rashard might get a shot at this thing. And I'm not rooting for him just because he's black, because I get that a lot from a lot of people who's foolish in thinking. But what I would like to say is that Chris Rashard, he brings in that extra bark, that extra bite. And who knows, a lot of people change when they get the full array of things. You see how that goes, you know. You give the full keys and it says it's your car versus it's somebody else's car and you got to be gentle with it. A lot of things look different. Now, number 2 on their list is Eric Bieniemy. He is the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he get high praises from Pat Mahomes. And if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, their offense is spectacular a little bit. Now, you can say that that's because of Pat Mahomes. And also you can look at it from those parameters. But he is a Andy Reid's disciple. He will fall from Andy Reid's tree. And if you think about it, if you really think about it, Andy Reid's disciples, they don't look that bad. Even though, you know, the Eagles got their little issues going on. But Nagy, I think that he's coaching for a team he's not doing that bad of a job, you see. And the Eagles head coach, he got some hardware now. So that disciple tree or that coaching tree is always important, especially in the National Football League, when you look at everything from A to Z. Eric Bieniemy used to be a running back back in the day. So I think that will be a good move for this team, because if we got an Ezekiel Elliott, we signed him to a $90 million deal. So I don't think that Ezekiel Elliott is going anywhere anytime soon. So if you want somebody who can relate to your quote unquote team, I think that Eric Bieniemy may be just that guy. They get an opportunity to interview. Not saying it's going to be the end all be all. Like I said, this list is not consistent of a Lincoln Riley's of the world or the Urban Meyers, who we may say should have a stronger suit. Jerry Jones loved to have their doormat, and the ultimate doormat of them all out of this list will be Josh Mcdaniels. He's number 1 on their list, Josh McDaniels. He's 43 years old. Of course, he coached a little bit in Denver, realized that wasn't the issue for them. That wasn't the end all be all for him. So he went back to New England land, had a job lined up for him with the Colts. He turned that job down to be an offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots with the mindset and the thought that he's going to get the opportunity to coach the Patriots. I don't know. The thing is with this coaching, looking for a coach, trying to find a coach, to me, Jerry Jones loved the unproven coach. He loved the guy that he can walk on, the doormat per se. He wants somebody that he can control. I don't think that Jerry Jones is going to change his mind at this age. I just don't see it. Even Stephen Jones. Remember, Stephen Jones is tight with that wallet. I think that even Stephen Jones, if you look at it, he may be looking at the situation saying that, hey, I want to get a guy that I can say that I've hired and still get the credit too. All of this stuff is about credit. Because if Jerry Jones really want to win the Super Bowls, there's no salary cap as it relates to coaching. He would have wrote out that check that he's talking about that he can write out for a Super Bowl like no other. I think that Jerry Jones loves to have the credit. He want to be able to take things and say, this is what I've done. This is my philosophy. So even with the Jason Garrett, it's been 10 years. Not saying that we can't do anything this year. Who knows? Crazier things happen. But the historical data proves and support that nothing would happen this year with Jason Garrett. Unfortunately, especially where we're looking at on special teams, especially how we play against the run and on the defensive side of the ball. And we're not capitalizing in the red zone, money zone, green zone, whatever zone you want to call it. We're not capitalizing in those categories. So I don't know if there's a magical light switch that all of a sudden we can flip over and then all of a sudden we can look at it and go on a run. I just don't see it in those factors. I could be 1,000,000% wrong, but in actuality, the coaches that I brought up, Bob Stoops, Jim Harbaugh, Chris Rashard, Eric Bieniemy, Josh McDaniels, those boys, I don't know. Urban Myers and the Lincoln Riley kid. We never would know. It may be another hot name in 3 months from here. Who knows? The Dallas Cowboys are always trying to look for that splash player or that splash coach. Not splash players as of lately, because I think that Steve and Jones have a lot to do with that. He's tight with his money. Let's see what they're going to do with this coaching deal. Let's see. Let me know who you guys would really want. Post it down below. But that's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute.